Is my mic working? Pat, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, Your Honor. We're on YouTube.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bexar County Court at Law number 6 and the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court. I'm Judge Wayne Christian. It is approximately 2:20 p.m. on Thursday, the 9th of December, 2021. Today we have our afternoon Zoom plea docket. What I have on my agenda for the day is Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court, Track 1, pretrial diversion, plea and probation agreements, cause number 663099, State of Texas versus Brandy Hurd, represented by Mr. Leslie Herbst, cause number 658073, State of Texas versus Arnold Pionkowski, represented by Mr. Trey Porter, and conventional pleas, cause 668245, State of Texas versus Carlos Escamilla, represented by Mr. Arnulfo Ortiz. Have we heard from Mr. Nelson and Mr. Funari? Pat?
Yes, Judge.
Are they present and going forward today? I don't have any paperwork on them.
We're not going to be going forward today, Judge.
All right, no problem. Thank you. Cause number 630504, State of Texas versus Alexa Reynosa Hernandez, represented by Mr. Oscar Hernandez. Cause number 668852, State of Texas versus Rogelio Gomez, represented by Ms. Elizabeth Russell. Cause number 671714, State of Texas versus Nicanor Vicuña, represented by Ms. Elizabeth Russell. Cause number 665031, State of Texas versus, can't read my writing, Soyan Zamora, represented by Mr. Hector Gonzalez. Cause number 656196, State of Texas versus Carlos Landeros, represented by Mr. Hector Gonzalez. Cause number 568304, State of Texas versus Jacob Elizondo, represented by Mr. Edward Cano. And cause number 671908, State of Texas versus Gabriel Chavez, represented by Mr. Adam Cortez. At this time, and cause number 663099, State of Texas versus Brandy Michelle Hurd, our Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court, Track 1, pretrial diversion, plea and probation agreement. Mr. Herbst, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor, we're ready.
Thank you. And cause 658073, another Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court, Track 1, pretrial diversion, plea and probation agreement, State of Texas versus Arnold Pionkowski. Mr. Porter, are you ready to proceed?
Good afternoon, Judge. Yes, we are ready to proceed, and my client is here with me, sir.
Thank you. And cause number 668852, State of Texas versus Rogelio Gomez Jr. Ms. Russell, are you ready to proceed?
I am, Judge.
And in cause 671714, State of Texas versus Nicanor A. Vicuña. Ms. Russell, are you also ready to proceed on this case?
I am, Judge.
All right. We're going to do bursts of 4, so we're going to start with these 4. Is Ms. Gross with us today? Yep. Susan, do you want to brief them now or do you want to brief them later on what's going on with your probation side?
Judge, I'll do it now.
Go ahead.
For anyone that is placed on probation today, if you live outside of Bexar County, outside of the state of Texas, or intend on moving in the very near future, you need to advise the judge before you take your plea. That way he knows how to do the paperwork as far as whether or not you're going to be able to transfer. Also, if you are placed on probation today, if you will look at the bottom, you'll see a little chat button. There is a phone number in there. I will give it to you a couple of times. It is 210-335-7446. If you are placed on probation, you will be receiving an email, text, or telephone call from the probation department giving you a time to go to orientation. This is where you're going to have your conditions read to you. You're going to be given lists of where you have to take your classes and signing all of your legal documents. If you fail to show up for this meeting, then you will, the judge will be notified and he'll issue a warrant for your arrest. Therefore, it is very important that you go to this orientation. You should receive notification by next Wednesday morning. So if by Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock, you have not heard from the probation department, you need to call that phone number that is listed in the chat. I will repeat it again, 210-335-7446. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Awesome. Good luck to you all. Alexa, did you have a question?
No, I didn't.
Okay, all right, then we will go ahead and move forward with all of your hearings. Good luck to you all.
Okay, thanks, Sue. Our two assistant criminal district attorneys, Mr. Ross Lewis and Mr. Eddie Villarreal. I have a question for y'all. I got a document, or there are several documents from you today I've never seen before. And they're titled States Code of Criminal Procedure 27.18A1 and Code of Criminal Procedure 1.13A written consent. Is this a new form that we're starting to use? Obviously, the defense counsel will have to execute a consent form. I don't know that the state is required to do so. Y'all know where this is coming from? And Ross, your microphone's turned off. I can't find Eddie yet.
I think that is a new form that we have started using, Your Honor.
Are we going to use one on each case?
Which form is that?
Well, the one I have is executed for Gabriel Sebastian Chavez, cost 671908. And there may be one or two more out there somewhere, but I don't have one for each case at this time.
Let's see.
I don't think it's legally necessary to do that. So, you know, the ones I have in front of me, we'll go ahead and use today. And if you want to execute some after the fact, you're welcome to do that. But I don't think it's a requirement of law that the state consent to a Zoom hearing.
Okay. Yes, Your Honor. We'll do.
All right, all good. Okay, first batch of cases, cause 663099, State of Texas versus Brandy Michelle Hurd, represented by Mr. Leslie Herbst, cause 658073, State of Texas versus Arnold Piantowski, Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court, Track 1, pretrial diversion, plea and probation on both these cases. And cause number 668852, State of Texas versus Rogelio Gomez Jr., represented by Elizabeth Russell, as well as cause 671714, State of Texas versus Nicanor A. Vicuña, represented also by Miss Elizabeth Russell. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I need you to identify your signatures on a couple of documents for me. The first document on each case is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. In cause number 663099. Ms. Hurd, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Herbst, as attorney for Ms. Hurd, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And cause number 658073, Mr. Piantowski, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Porter, as attorney for Mr. Piantowski, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you. And cause 668852, Mr. Gomez, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir, it is.
And Ms. Russell, as attorney for Mr. Gomez, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge, it is.
And in cause 671714, Mr. Vicuña, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Ms. Russell, as attorney for Mr. Vicuña, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, it is, Judge.
Okay. Next document I have for each of you is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. It purports to have your signatures on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Ms. Hurd, in cause 663099, is this your signature on this document also, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Piantowski, in cause 658073, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Gomez, in cause 668852, is this your signature on this document also, sir?
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you. And in cause 671714, Mr. Vicuña, is this your signature on this document also, sir?
Yes, sir.
Each of you, by signing this document, are you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys. So that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Ms. Hurd?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct, Mr. Piantowski?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Mr. Gomez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Mr. Vicuña?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Herbst, as attorney for Ms. Hurd, have you had enough time to go over this case with her? And in your opinion, is she mentally competent?
Yes, we've had enough time, and I believe she's mentally competent, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Porter with regard to Mr. Piantowski.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Russell with regard to Mr. Gomez.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Russell with regard to Mr. Vicuña.
Also for Mr. Vicuña, Judge.
Thank you. Ms. Hurd, are you a United States citizen, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Piankowski.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Gomez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And same question for Mr. Vicuña.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Herbst, in cause number 663099, State of Texas versus Randy Michelle Hurd, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Porter in cause 658073, State of Texas versus Arnold Piankowski.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Russell in cause 668852, State of Texas versus Rogelio Gomez Jr.
Yes, sir.
And same question for Ms. Russell in cause 671714, State of Texas versus Nicanor A. Vicuña.
And yes, for Mr. Vicuña as well.
Thank you. Okay, let's see where we're at now. And Ms. Hurd, in your Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court Track 1 pretrial diversion plea and probation agreement in clause 663099 to the charge of, is this supposed to be DWI greater than 1.5? On the plea paperwork, it says DWI first. Is it supposed to be greater than 1.5 or first? Does anybody know?
I believe it's
Your Honor,
first.
on the system, it is a DWI greater than 0.15.
Okay. DAs, my understanding is that the defendants in the Veterans Treatment Court are going to enter a plea to that offense, the main offense, and then I'm going to hold it in abeyance. Is that your understanding on this case? So it should be a plea to DWI with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15.
Yes, Your Honor, that's my understanding.
And defense, do you agree?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So Pat, the paperwork on the defendant's waiver of constitutional rights and court's admonitions needs to be changed, basically just to reflect the initial offense is DWI greater than 0.015.
I'll let them know, Judge.
All good. All right. Ms. Hurd, in cause 663099 to the charge of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. How do you plead, ma'am?
Guilty.
Court accepts your plea of guilty. Hold it in abeyance. Places you on 1 year. Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court, Track 1. Pretrial diversion, assessing a $1,000 all-inclusive Veterans Treatment Court fee, 48 hours of community service, probating all that based on your military service. DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, 6 months Smart Start mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day. Outpatient drug treatment with either the Veterans Administration or another designated VTC provider. And hopefully there's no restitution on this one. Requiring a successful completion of the Veterans Treatment Court, issue judge's bond, defendant to be supervised by CSCD and VTC staff. At this time, Ms.
Your
Hurd,
Honor,
yes, go ahead.
we have two additional issues.
Sure.
One issue is that Ms. Hurd's gotten a job in the brothels and she needs permission to travel to Comal County to work.
All right, let me we're through the entire plea process and then I'll be happy to talk about that. And I'm sure we can let her travel, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Hurd, at this time, I'm looking at a document entitled Track 1 Pretrial Intervention, which is a contract by and between you and your attorney in the Bexar County Criminal District Attorney's Office. Said contract setting out all the terms and prerequisites of your successful completion of the Veterans Treatment Court. In fact, ma'am, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Herbst, as attorney for Ms. Hurd, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And one of my ADAs, I see a signature of a Megan R. Galloway. Would that be the former assistant criminal district attorney involved in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sure, it's not some imposter ADA out there running around claiming to be an ADA,
No,
showing her badge, trying to get people to buy her drinks and bars and all that stuff.
She
All right.
exists, Your Honor. Yes, sir.
Fair enough. All right, we got on contract. We're good to go on that. What'd you do in the military, Ms. Hurd?
Logistics.
Logistics? Did you go to the sandbox?
I'm not sure what the sandbox is.
Afghanistan or Iraq?
No, I did not.
All right, you didn't miss anything. Welcome back. All right, anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Hurd?
Yes, Your Honor, two issues with regards to Ms. Hurd. She just got a job in New Braunfels and she needs permission to travel to Comal County.
And what is our job position in Comal County?
It's working with military companies, finding hotels and lodging for military groups.
Wonderful. But technically you live in Bexar County, but you're going to be working in Comal County. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So she just needs open travel back and forth between Bear and Comal County. Is that accurate, Mr. Herbst?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's no problem.
And we have a second issue,
Sure, go ahead.
and that is that there's a warrant that we need to have recalled. It was a false positive on alcohol based upon her skin print.
On all these cases, including Ms. Hurd's, we're going to recall all pretrial services, bond conditions, and warrants. And that should take care of that, should it not?
Yes, Your Honor.
They're starting over from scratch. If there are any further problems, we'll talk about it with them.
Very good, sir.
But there won't be any problems, will there, Ms. Hurd?
No, sir.
Good answer, ma'am. All right, y'all are dismissed. Thanks for your help.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, another Bear County Veterans Treatment Court, Track 1, pretrial diversion, plea and probation agreement. Mr. Piankowski in clause 658073. To the charge of, and let me look at this again. This one should also be DWI with blood or breath, alcohol breath 0.15 or higher. It shouldn't be DWI first. Is that correct, State?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And is that correct, defense?
Yes, sir, that's right.
All right, Pat, administratively, if you would just change on the defendant's waiver of constitutional rights and court's admonitions that the actual offense we're dealing with is driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15.
Of course, Your Honor.
All right, let's go on that one. Therefore, Mr. Piantowski in clause 658073 to the charge of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty, Your Honor.
The court accepts your plea of guilty. Hold it in abeyance. Places you on 1 year. Bear County Veterans Treatment Court, Track 1, pretrial diversion probation. It says again, $1,000 all-inclusive Veterans Treatment Court fee, 48 hours of community service, probating all that based on your military service. DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, 6 months Smart Start mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day, outpatient drug treatment with either the Veterans Administration or another designated VTC provider. And once again, hopefully there's no restitution. Nope, no restitution. Requiring your successful completion of the Veterans Treatment Court, issue judge's bond, defendant to be supervised by CSCD and VTC staff. At this time, Mr. Piankowski, I'm looking at a document entitled Track 1 Pretrial Intervention, which is a contract by and between you and your attorney in the Bear County Criminal District Attorney's Office. Said contract setting out all the terms and prerequisites of your successful completion of the Veterans Treatment Court. In fact, sir, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Porter, as attorney for Mr. Piankowski, is this your signature on this document also?
Yes, sir, it is.
And Assistant Criminal District Attorneys, I have a purported signature of one each, Megan R. Galloway. Is she the former Assistant Criminal District Attorney that was handling this case prior to your entry into our arena?
Yes, Your Honor.
Fair enough. Good to go on that one. Mr. Piantowski, what did you do in the military, sir?
I was also in logistics, Your Honor.
And did you go to the sandbox?
Twice.
Iraq, Afghanistan, both?
Afghanistan, Your Honor.
Okay. Thanks for your service, sir.
Thank you for your support. And thank you for your
Anything further from the state of the defense of Mr. Piankowski?
Nothing from the state.
And
One
go ahead.
item from defense, Judge. Mr. Piankowski, you granted a motion to travel for him back in June of this year. He has a job that necessitates daytime travel to counties, Judge, that surround Bear County. And this is something that has not changed. And we just ask that that be notated, that he still be allowed to travel for work in the counties that surround Bear while he's on this program.
He just needs to go to contiguous counties that are touching Bear County. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir, that's accurate. But we had it, I wrote it, Judge, for all counties in Texas in the unlikely event that his territory expanded, so we wouldn't have to do this again. But right now, it's the contiguous counties.
What is Mr. Piankowski's job that he has to travel all over Timbuktu?
He's a salesperson, Judge, for a window company. And so he travels to different places, meeting with residential customers and basically, you know, outfitting their homes for windows.
All right, here's the way it works. He's allowed to travel anywhere in Texas as long as he's not spending the night without permission. If he has to spend the night, he needs to contact his probation officer and get permission for that particular trip. And the probability is we may give him an ETGUA when he comes back. It just varies on the circumstances.
Yes, sir.
For right now, let's do it that way. Josh, is that okay with you guys that are running the show?
Yes, sir. And you'll have orientation, Arnold, and we'll go over all your requirements. So, and then for questions and concerns, we'll address them then.
And Mr. Moore is going to contact Mr. Piankowski and Ms. Hurd this afternoon. Is that how that works?
That is correct, sir.
All good. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Piankowski?
Nothing from the state.
Nothing further, Judge. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for your service, Mr. Piankowski. Thanks, Ms. Porter. Y'all are out of here.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Gomez. State, you got a motion. I think you got a motion. Are you waiving the second enhancement?
Yes, Judge, we are. State will move to waive and abandon that DWI second.
Objection from the defense. Ms. Russell, you don't object to that, do you? Didn't think so. No objection from the defense. That will be granted.
No objection, Judge. Sorry, I was
Thank
on mute apparently.
Therefore, Mr. Gomez to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest, sir.
Thank you. Is there an agreement for Mr. Gomez?
Yes, Your Honor, there is. It will be 180 days in the Bexar County Jail, suspended and probated for a term of 16 months, a $700 fine, court costs, 64 hours community service, DWI intervention course, victim impact panel, the CAT SNP program, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and restitution, if any, to Taco Cabana.
Did we run into a Taco Cabana?
Just the sign, Judge.
That's kind of exciting. Let me do a little writing here, guys, and we'll get you out of here.
And I do have something to address the court about.
Go ahead.
Mr. Gomez is requesting permission to travel to 2 separate periods. He's requesting permission to travel next week to Tulsa, Oklahoma for a surgery for his wife. He'll be driving there. He'll be there for 3 days. That includes the driving. And we would request that permission be granted for him to travel for his wife's surgery.
Is Mr. Gomez currently active on a Smart Start mobile device at 4 blows a day?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Elizabeth, go ahead and just do a simple motion in writing so I can grant it. And basically, this is going to give him an ETGUA when he gets back. Otherwise, he's going to stay active on his Smart Start and everything's good.
Okay, and then Judge would also request, and I'll get the motion in today, for permission for him to go to Medina tomorrow for work. He has received an offer for a job in which he needs to do some land clearing. He'll be there for 4 hours, I'm sorry, and I'll include that on the motion.
Not a problem. And Josh, I don't know if we ever discussed this, but my policy is anybody on probation in County Court 6 or the Veterans Treatment Court can travel to contiguous counties without permission. Don't have to call your probation officer, as long as you don't spend the night. If you spend the night, then you need to get permission. Otherwise, if you're just doing day trips to New Braunfels or something, you can do that without permission.
Understood, Your Honor.
All right, all good. Anything?
Okay, so I only need to include Tulsa in the motion, Judge?
Does he have more than one trip lined up or just a Tulsa trip at this time?
Just the Tulsa trip, Judge.
All right, put something in writing for me, but it's orally granted right now with an ETGUA when he returns.
Perfect.
Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Gomez?
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, good luck, Mr. Gomez. I don't know if Ms. Russell wants you to hang around or not. I need to bother her one more time and then I'm gonna let her go too.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, let's see what's going on. Mr. Vicuña, heads up. Mr. Vicuña, on class 671714 to the charge of reckless driving. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty, sir.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Vicuña?
Yes, Your Honor, there is. It will be 6 months deferred adjudication, a $200 fine, court costs, 36 hours community service, the CATS aggressive driving course, and a stress management course.
Is that APSE we're talking about, stress management?
I believe it's, yes, APSE.
And what was the particular issue in this? Was it just speed that is being considered reckless driving, or were there other factors?
Have that in front of me.
Mr. Vicuña, you were there. What happened?
Yes, sir. Me and my friend were just following each other to our other friend's house to fix his car and his speakers wiring. and officer pulled us over saying that we were racing each other, but we were just following each other.
I got you. I'm glad it's not racing. That's good. Okay, one other housekeeping incident. On my paperwork here, it says no contest and not guilty. Ms. Russell, which plea would you like your client to enter? I don't think it matters to state or me.
No contest, please, Judge.
Okay, state.
That's okay, Judge.
All right. Okay, Mr. Vicuña, in clause 671714, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of reckless driving. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt. Place you on 6 months deferred adjudication probation. It says a $200 fine plus court cost, 36 hours community service, community alliance for traffic safety, aggressive drivers course, and the APSC stress management course. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Vicuña?
Nothing further from the state.
Nothing from defense, Judge.
I'd like to ask Ms. Russell to have a chat with Mr. Vicuña about how to be a safe driver, but I've seen Ms. Russell drive, and I think that would be counterproductive.
You know, Judge, my dad calls me Crash.
I
So
rest
tell
my
him
case.
that. And I actually just recently found out that you graduated from high school with my mom and my dad. Did you know that?
No, I did not. Who is your mom and dad?
My mom was Ann Roof, ROOF,
Yeah.
and my dad is Daniel Abel Russell III.
I'm gonna go look him up in my.
Danny.
Daniel.
They called him Danny at that time. Danny.
All right, well, great. Well, tell him I said hi.
I will absolutely do so.
Okay, anything further from the state of the defense of Mr. Vicuña?
Nothing further from the state.
Mr. Vicuña, you and Ms. Russell are out of here.
Thank you, Judge.
Let's see what we got going now. And Pat, we have no paperwork on Mr. Nelson at this time. Is that accurate?
That's correct, Your Honor, since he now wants the trial.
And is Mr. Hernandez with us and we're ready to go forward on Ms. Reynosa Hernandez?
Yes, Your Honor, the only ones that is out still is Mr. Cano, but everybody else, Mr. Ortiz is here for Mr. Escamilla, and Claudine is here for Mr. Gonzalez's too.
Okay.
Judge, before we get started, I don't think there is actually an agreement on Reynosa Hernandez. I believe Ms. Galloway had communicated with Mr. Hernandez. I'm not sure if he had received that communication, but I do not believe we have an agreement in that case.
All right, hang on just a second. Let me try to get organized. I know that it's an impossible mission, but we're gonna try. Okay, we got Escamilla. Reynosa Hernandez. Check. Zamora. Check. Londeros. And we are not going forward on Mr. Elizondo today. Is that accurate?
Your Honor, it's my understanding we are. It's just that Mr. Cano is in another court doing a PSI, and as soon as they're finished, he was going to come in.
All good. Okay, let's see if we're ready on these. Cause number 668-245, State of Texas versus Carlos Escamilla Jr. Mr. Ortiz, are you ready to proceed on that one?
Yes, Your Honor, ready.
Thank you. Cause number 630-504, State of Texas versus Alexa G. Reynosa Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez, are you ready to go forward on that one?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, thank you. And cause number 665-031, State of Texas versus Julian A. Zamora. Do we have Hector today or Clarissa today, or who do we have today?
Hi, Your Honor. It's Claudine.
Claudine today, even better.
Oh, thank you.
All right, we're good. And also, Claudine, I guess, are you ready on Mr. Landero, 656-196?
Yes, Your Honor, we are.
All good. Okay, and call 668-245, State of Texas versus Carlos Escamilla Jr., Representative Mr. Arnulfo Ortiz. Cause number 630-504, State of Texas versus Alexa G. Reynosa Hernandez, Representative Mr. Oscar Hernandez. Cause number 665-031, State of Texas versus Julian A. Zamora. Claudine, what's your last name? I've only known you 30 years. What's your last name?
Sorry, Espinosa,
Of course.
Espinosa.
Got it. Represented by Ms. Claudine Espinosa, because Mr. Gonzalez refuses to come to work. And cause number 656196, State of Texas versus Carlos J. Landeros. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to identify your signatures on two documents for me. The first document is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. In fact, Mr. Escamilla, in cause 668245, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Ortiz, as attorney for Mr. Escamilla, is this also your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. In clause 630504, Ms. Reynosa Hernandez, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hernandez, as attorney for Ms. Reynosa Hernandez, is this your signature on this document also?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Zamora, in clause 665031, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
And Ms. Espinosa, as attorney for Mr. Zamora, is this also your signature on this document?
That would be Hector's signature on that set of paperwork, Your Honor.
All right, fair enough. And in clause 656196, Mr. Landeros, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Espinosa, this really is your signature on this document, is it not?
It is, Your Honor.
And let's go ahead and do State of Texas versus Gabriel S. Chavez, clause 671908. Mr. Cortez, are you ready to proceed on this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. In clause 671908, Mr. Chavez, is this your signature on this document entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Cortez, as attorney for Mr. Chavez, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonition that purports to have each of your signatures on it, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Escamilla, in clause 668245, is this your signature on this document also, sir?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
And Ms. Reynosa Hernandez, in clause 630504, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Zamora, in clause 665031, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
And Mr. Landeros, in clause 656196, is this your signature on this document also, sir?
Yes, sir.
And in clause 671908, Mr. Chavez, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Thank you. By signing this document, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorney, so that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Mr. Escamilla?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is that correct, Ms. Reynosa Hernandez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Zamora?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Landeros?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Chavez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Ortiz, as attorney for Mr. Escamilla, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Hernandez, as attorney for Ms. Reynosa Hernandez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Espinosa, as attorney for Mr. Julian Zamora.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Espinosa, as attorney for Mr. Landeros.
Yes, Your Honor.
And same question for Mr. Cortez, as attorney for Mr. Chavez.
Yes to both, Your Honor.
Mr. Escamilla, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Reynosa Hernandez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Zamora.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Landeros.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And same question for Mr. Chavez.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Ortiz, as attorney for Mr. Escamilla, has the state fully comply with discovery for you on this case?
They have, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Hernandez, as attorney for Ms. Reynosa Hernandez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Espinosa, as attorney for Mr. Zamora.
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Ms. Espinosa, as attorney for Mr. Landeros.
Yes, Your Honor.
And same question for Mr. Cortez, as attorney for Mr. Chavez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Let's see what we're doing with Mr. Escamilla. Okay, so no motions on Mr. Escamilla. Is that right, State?
That's right, Your Honor.
Mr. Escamilla, clause 668245, to the charge of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content of 0.15 or greater. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty, Your Honor.
My paperwork says no contest. I don't think it matters to the state or me. Mr. Ortiz, what kind of plea would you like your client to enter?
Take no contest, young man.
All right. State's that okay with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
All good. Court accepts the plea of no contest, the offense of DWI with blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. Is there an agreement for Mr. Escamilla?
There is, Your Honor. It's for a $600 fine plus court costs plus 12 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 12 months, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, VIP, I'm supposed to say VIP, and ignition interlock.
We're not using ignition interlock in County Court 6. We use a Smart Start mobile device so we can test everybody 24 hours a day.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Ortiz?
No problem. That is our agreement.
Okay, so you agree to use the Smart Start mobile, not the ignition interlock. Is that accurate?
Yes.
All good. Okay, Mr. Escamilla, in cause 668-245, the court accepts your plea of no contest, defense of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. I find you guilty. I assess 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, $600 fine plus court cost, 48 hours community service, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Smart Start mobile home interlock to 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 6 months. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Escamilla?
Nothing from the
further.
state.
Good luck, Mr. Escamilla. Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. Y'all are dismissed.
Thank you.
Let's see what we're doing with Miss Reynosa Hernandez. Offer revoked. What does that mean? Are we going open to the court on Miss Reynosa Hernandez?
No, Judge, so what happened is after the offer was revoked, after offer was made, a new sealed case was received. And so while that is being investigated, we had to revoke the original offer.
All right, so do y'all have an agreement at this time?
I do not believe we do, Judge.
All right, so yeah, are they pleading and going open to the court? Is that what we're doing? And I get recommendations from both sides and I make a decision? Is that what y'all are looking at?
I was just going to ask for a reset in order to investigate that. But if we want to do that, we can do that.
Oscar, Mr. Hernandez, what would you like to do?
We'd like to go forward, Judge. I'm court appointed on this case. They won't tell us what the other case is at. It's been an intake. They don't know if it's going to go forward or not. My client would like to resolve this 2019 case, Your Honor. She has absolutely no priors.
Let's do this. State, from your perspective, what happened in this case? And I'm going to ask the same question to the defense so I know how aggravated or not aggravated it is.
I will pull up that information right now.
And Mr. Hernandez, you indicated that Ms. Reynosa Hernandez has no criminal record. Is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
State's looking stuff up. Mr. Hernandez, do you have a defense side of what happened in this case?
We admitted we admit responsibility, Judge. She's come forward on this.
Well, is it a bar fight? Is it a fight over a guy? What is it all about?
No, my client felt that she was improperly accused of shoplifting at a dollar store. There was a heated beef. Nothing happened. The same two individuals meet up at an HEB. They get cross-eyed with each other, and it becomes physical. Okay, so
is the alleged victim, was he or she a salesperson or something at the store?
Yes, and but we believe that she falsely accused her and berated my client in public of the shoplifting, which never got filed or never even got charged. But
who's got the name of the alleged victim so I can put it down with no contact order?
Alleged victim is Angel, Angel Aguilera, Aguilera.
Oh, good. State, have you got a variation on the theme of that story?
I'm opening the police report right now. I could at least add that we have made contact with this victim. She stated that her nose was bruised and bleeding, but not broken.
Okay. All right. So what I've got in mind, I'm just gonna tell you all up front so we can discuss it before I actually have to do it, since there's no agreement, is 1 year deferred adjudication probation, the APSE course, a $500 fine plus court costs, restitution, if any, and no contact with Angel Aguilera. If restitution is claimed, we'll have a restitution hearing if that becomes necessary, if the defense doesn't agree, which they won't. State, what other recommendations have you got on probation?
Judge, in this instance, I would actually recommend the hostility management class. It's a more intensive anger management class through the CATS court program.
It's called CATS hostility management?
Yes,
No,
Judge.
wait, well, let me set my say as well, Judge.
Sure.
The original offer is just as you're going, except they were asking for 14 months deferred. That offer was made October 22 with the APSE. My client immediately went, completed it, and we have a certificate, and it's provided to the DA's office on November 8th. So within 2 weeks, she's already done the class. Now they want to come back, and just because we're saying let's move forward, they want to add yet another thing. The facts haven't changed, Judge.
I got it. So in other words, proactively, Ms. Reynosa Hernandez has already completed the APSE course. Is that correct?
Absolutely, Judge. And that's going to show her how serious she takes this and wants to move forward on it.
Right.
And we waited to take the plea because I was asking for a less than the 14 months because she's already done these things.
It's all good. I got it. All right. Ms. Reynosa Hernandez has got 630504 to the charge of assault bodily injury. How do you plead, ma'am? And I believe it's going to be no contest. Does that sound right, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Court accepts the plea of no contest to assault bodily injury. State recommendation.
State would recommend at this time the same conditions, Judge. However, I would recommend straight probation instead of deferred adjudication based on the nature of the new charge. And I believe also the hostility management class, and as opposed to the APSE class. However, the rest of our recommendation would be the same as the court's recommendation.
And defense recommendation, please.
Judge, we're asking if you can consider even a shorter deferred adjudication. My client is a single mother, works at a fast food place. She's industrious. She's owned up to this. She's already moving forward on this. We'd like to just put this behind us. So the court consideration, 9 months deferred. I greatly appreciate it. She's already completed the APSE course on 1108. I don't know what has changed other than the state feels vilified and that we've going open. Now they want to add an additional hostility case, and they want her to get a conviction on this. The facts haven't changed. This is an event that occurred December 30th of 2019.
Hey, I've got another question for both y'all. Apparently the initiation problem was that they accused Ms. Reynosa Hernandez of shoplifting. Was she ever charged with shoplifting?
Absolutely not.
State, what side of that?
At least nothing came through to our office, Judge. If something came through as a class C or something, I can't see it.
Right.
Absolutely not. It was just verbally. My client was embarrassed. It was a false accusation. She was embarrassed, and that's why they got cross-eyed when they saw each other at HEB the next time.
I got you. Ms. Reynosa Hernandez and cause 630504, the court accepts your plea of no contest. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt. Please show 1 year deferred adjudication probation, assess the APSE course, which you're going to get proactive credit for, 24 hours of community service, pay restitution, if any, and have no contact with Angel Aguilera. Anything further from the state or the defense on Ms. Reynosa Hernandez?
Not at this time, Judge.
Now, Mr. Hernandez, as far as I'm concerned, she's eligible for early termination, but I'm not going to do it without the consent of the state. So the better she does on probation, the quicker she gets all this done. If she actually does everything and the state doesn't want her early term, I'm going to let her report by mail or video, basically. And all she has to do is pay her $25 a month supervisory fee. She won't have to actually come down and do anything. So
greatly appreciate it.
Early term, that's up to the state. I'm going to follow their guidance on that one.
Thank you so much.
Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Reynosa Hernandez?
Nothing at this time, Judge.
All right. Good luck, Ms. Reynosa Hernandez. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you.
All right. Now we got Mr. Zamora. Let's see what we're doing with Mr. Z. And state, you got some motions on this one.
Let's see. Yeah, that's yours.
Yes, Your Honor, there is a motion. At this time, the state moves to waive count 2 and proceed with count 1 only.
All right, let me back up because I'm confused. What is the initial charge? Is it straight DWI first offense, or does it have a greater than 1.5, or what's the original charge on this case?
The original charge is for just DWI.
All right, DWI first offense.
Yes, Your Honor.
And there are 2 paragraphs. Does one have the obstruction paragraph? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Your Honor, that's my understanding.
So this is going to be an obstruction, is that correct?
Oh.
Your Honor, I was not told that.
Okay, well, but here's where my confusion is. If you've got a 2-paragraph information, one, I'm assuming alleges driving while intoxicated first offense, and one, I'm assuming says the obstruction of a highway, and you're waiving the obstruction of a highway paragraph. Does that sound right?
I think so, Your Honor, yes.
Claudine, is that what your understanding is?
The notes I have from Hector say the agreement was to waive count 2 and proceed on count 1.
Well, obviously, I don't have the information in front of me. I don't know what paragraph 1 and paragraph 2 are. Normally, on these cases, paragraph 1 alleges a DWI first offense, and paragraph 2 alleges obstruction of a highway, or they don't put a paragraph 2 on it. And sometimes the state moves to amend if they want to make it an obstruction.
That's right, Your Honor. Count 1 is for DWI and count
So
2.
it's the state's intent that Mr. Zamora be on deferred adjudication probation for driving while intoxicated first offense. Does that sound correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Espinosa, is that your understanding of the agreement?
My notes here to show that it's an offer for 14 months deferred.
Well, I mean, you can get deferred on DWIs these days, and that's what the state's saying it was their understanding of the agreement.
Right. I guess, Julian, you're here. Did Hector say this was going to be an obstruction?
This is what the state provided me on their understanding of the plea bargain. The state's going to waive count 2, which is the obstruction of a highway paragraph, and proceed with count 1, which is the DWI first offense paragraph. The defendant's going to enter a plea to that, and I'm going to grant him deferred adjudication probation for 14 months for the offense of driving while intoxicated first offense, assess an $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 7 months, and regular UAs. State, does that sound like your agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, that's an agreement that was made.
And defense, do you agree with that, or is there a problem you need to contact Hector and talk about it?
That's what I'm showing here, but if I can just reach out to Hector really quickly, could we set this one aside for just a moment?
Sure.
And proceed on the other one, please?
All right, let's hold short on Mr. Zamora's case. Just hang on, Mr. Zamora, we'll get you out of here. This is cause 656196, state of Texas versus Carlos J. Landeros. And let's see what we're doing on Mr. Landeros. State, you got a motion on this one?
Yes, Judge, we do. We'll be waiving the enhancement language and proceeding as a Class B DWI first offense.
My understanding the state is moving to waive the 0.15 enhancement. No objection from the defense, that will be granted. My understanding on this one is the defendant's going to enter a plea of whatever, and he's going to get 14 months deferred adjudication probation, a $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 7 months. And $60 payment is reimbursement to the Texas Department of Public Safety for a lab fee.
Yes, Your Honor, that's what I showed you.
Do you want to talk to Hector about that one also, or is that your understanding of the agreement on this one?
On this one, for Mr. Landeros, that's the understanding, Your Honor.
All right, so we can go forward on this one?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Landeros, for the charge of driving while intoxicated first offense, how do you plead, sir?
No contest.
And state, is there an agreement, please?
Yes, Your Honor, there is. It will be for 14 months deferred adjudication, $500 fine, court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, the CATSNP program, the Smart Start mobile device for half the term, and $60 to the Department of Public Safety for the blood draw.
And Ms. Espinosa, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor, and currently he does not have the Smart Start, so we would ask for time for him to get that taken care of, Your Honor.
Is he on an ignition interlock or anything at this time?
I don't believe he's on anything, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Londeros, in cause 656-196, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 14 months deferred adjudication probation. It says a $500 fine plus court cost, 48 hours community service, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for 7 months, and $60 in reimbursement to the Texas Department of Public Safety for a lab fee. We're going to give him 10 days to get active on a Smart Start mobile device. My understanding is sometimes they get backed up. So if he has a problem, he just needs to let probation department know, and we're not going to hold it against him if it's not his fault.
Sounds good, Your Honor.
And that's what I got. Anything further from the state of the defense of Mr. Londeros?
Nothing further from the state.
Nothing further from the defense, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Londeros, you're excused, and Ms. Espinosa, let's take a break for you to go call Hector. And in the meantime, let's
I will do
Mr.
that. Thank you.
Chavez. Let's see what we're doing on Mr. Chavez. Okay, so this one started out as a DWI with open container. We all agree?
Yes.
That's true, Your Honor.
All right, so state, you have a motion apparently.
Yes, Your Honor. We will be waiving count 1 for DWI with open container and proceeding on count 2 for obstruction of a highway.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted. This information already has 2 paragraphs. We don't have to amend and add the obstruction paragraph. Is that correct?
I believe that is correct.
All right, all good. And okay, so Mr. Chavez, in cause 671-908 to the charge of obstruction of a highway. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty, Your Honor.
And is there an agreement for Mr. Chavez?
Yes, Your Honor, there is. It will be for 16 months deferred adjudication, an $850 fine, court costs, 60 hours community service, DWI education program, victim impact panel, CATSNP program, Smart Start mobile device for half the term, and random UAs.
And Ms. Cortez, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Chavez, in cause 671-908, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of obstruction of a highway. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of a guilt. Place you on 16 months deferred adjudication probation. It says an $850 fine plus court cost, 60 hours community service, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 8 months, and regular UAs. Everybody in County Court 6 and the VTC get regular UAs at least one a month, so that's all good. That's what I got. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Chavez?
Nothing further.
Good luck, Mr. Chavez. Thank you, Mr. Cortez.
Thank you,
Your Honor, Mr. Cano is in. So he's ready for his,
I'm looking for him.
he's right.
Oh, I don't see him. Yeah,
Under
there
me.
you are. Yeah, do you need any time before we proceed on Mr. Elizondo, or are you ready to go? Your microphone's turned off yet.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're good to go, Judge.
You ready to go? All right, this is cause 568-304, State of Texas versus Jacob R. Elizondo, Representative Mr. Ed Cano. The first document I need each of you to identify your signature on is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. In fact, Mr. Elizondo, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir, it is.
And Mr. Cano, as attorney for Mr. Elizondo, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Elizondo, the next document I have for you is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions, that purports to have your signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, sir, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you. By signing this document, are you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys, so that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Cano, as attorney for Mr. Elizondo, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Elizondo, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Cano, has the state fully comply with discovery for you on this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let's see what we're doing, Mr. Elizondo. Okay, Mr. Elizondo, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, second offense, how do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Elizondo?
Yes, Your Honor, there is. It will be for 170 days in the Bear County Jail, a $0 fine, court costs, time and money to run concurrent, credit for time served, and if it pleases the court, this would be a judgment satisfied.
And Mr. Kano, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Judge, and he does have 170 days in. I've checked with your clerk prior to.
Mr. Elizondo, on clause 568-304, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, second offense. I find you guilty. I assess 170 days in the Bear County Jail, a $0 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent, judgment satisfied. Anything further from the state or the defense of Mr. Elizondo?
Nothing
No,
further from the state.
Mr. Elizondo, just a quick warning. If you get arrested again on DWI, it's going to be a third, makes it a felony. It's going to be a life changer. So my suggestion would be don't even think about drinking and driving, because once a police officer stops you, even if you've only had one sip of beer, he's going to look at his little computer on his car and see you have 2 DWIs and you're going downtown. So I'll let Mr. Cano clarify that further later, but best of luck to you, sir. Just be very careful. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. You're out of here.
Thanks.
Let's come off of YouTube while we wait for Claudine.